What's up, everybody? Welcome to the podcast now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Sony buying Housemarque Games. They finally did it. This was, they said in an interview that they had only started talks back in 2020, and then Returnal delayed those talks. But this is a long time, in my opinion, really ever since 2013, should have been the final nail in the coffin of them buying them. But obviously, here we are, 2021, and they've officially done it. So I want to talk about, obviously, what that means, good or bad for Sony, talk about a little bit of the console wars just to kind of put people in their places, I think, but also talk about Bluepoint because, and I want to say that one first, because the first thing that happened today was, I believe it was PlayStation Japan. They sent out a tweet to kind of mimic what, everybody else had done, and instead of doing, PlayStation Studios meets, Housemarque in that picture of all the kind of PlayStation icons and then their name, they did Bluepoint instead. Now, was that a simple copy and paste error? I mean, maybe. I don't know why you would have taken the name for, I don't know why you took Bluepoint Studios and put them in place of Housemarque, but that's what they did. Then they deleted that tweet, so the tweet's no longer up. So, does that, again, was that an error, or does that mean that that one is coming as well? I think that one is coming as well. I think what Sony is probably doing here is just getting all of the obvious ones, which really are just those two, getting the obvious ones in their fold and then calling it a day. Again, we got some pretty good information from how they see things, which is just a continuation of what they've been saying. So, okay, so a little bit deeper dive into it, right? In terms of what they were saying, still talking about being very strategic with who they're picking studios they're very, very comfortable with, right? Doing nothing too crazy. And I think that's exactly what Housemarque and Bluepoint, that's exactly what they would be, right? Housemarque has been working mainly PlayStation. Now, they've made games that are not PlayStation exclusives here and there, but their biggest hits obviously have been PlayStation exclusives. Again, that's why, to go into the console wars, route really quickly, I'm not starting it. I don't want people starting it. It's very annoying. And I say it every single time in these videos I say it, but today seems to be much worse on the internet, especially on Twitter. Everyone just taking shots, mainly PlayStation people, and it's like, look, you don't want Xbox to do it, so PlayStation, can you also please not do it as well? Because you're seeing people, take the shots of, a studio and all of that stuff. So, to me, this is the least big deal that could ever well, it's actually both. It is a big deal while also not being a big deal, I guess, to console warriors, right? The people in the front lines of the console wars. Because in reality, it is a big deal. This is a new studio Sony adds, finally, right? Because they had Insomniac, but for the most part, they've been shutting down studios, not buying them. Or, I guess, making acquisition deals or making deals where, like, hey, you just started up, right? The Call of Duty guys, right? You just started up, you make a game, you're going to make your game exclusive to us, but we don't own you. We don't own your studio. That's what we've seen. So this is a big deal in the case that, they finally have Housemarque. Plus, they did mention in all of the interviews that the goal is going to be expansion, which is exactly, it's what I've predicted for years. It's what they've said verbally recently quite often. It's what they're still saying, which I think to me just means, hey, are you capable of doing 2 games at once? Because if you're not, we want to get you there. And I think that's kind of the plan with all of these studios, which is not a bad thing whatsoever. If you can have Sony Santa Monica, Sucker Punch, Insomniac, which already does, some of these already do it, right? But if you can have all of them be cranking out 2 games at once, then that's very good. That is how you compete. Again, not that it necessarily needs to be a competition, but if you want to compete with Microsoft buying 500 studios, the only way to do it, in Sony's case, is just expand who you already have. And that's, again, kind of what they're doing. But, so it's, in those ways, it is a big deal because you're adding a studio. You may be adding technically maybe 2 teams in that studio in the future or where you want to get it there, right? But it's also not a big deal in the way of like, oh, Sony's so great, or, look at what Microsoft doesn't get, because of the situation with Housemarque games. Housemarque really, again, their biggest games have been PlayStation exclusive. Resogun is one of their best, Dead Nation. There's other in-between games. I don't remember if Nex Machina, which honestly is my personal, I think Returnal's maybe my favorite one, but Nex Machina would be number 2, actually above Resogun. I don't remember if that was just on PlayStation or not. I think it may have been, but the point is this: most of their games, let's say, have come out just on PlayStation, and their biggest games have come out on PlayStation. So it's not like the Spider-Man thing, right? Where Spider-Man is not exclusive and it's been on different platforms for a long time, and then Sony's kind of taking that for Microsoft. No, that's not, you know what I mean? So I think this is kind of the least consequential thing that could happen, because it's like, oh, duh, obviously, right? Same thing, honestly, if Bluepoint does it. Bluepoint is one of the, I think, not even one of the best. I do think Bluepoint is the best remake studio in the entire world. Okay, that's my personal opinion. And in terms of remasters, they're probably the best as well. Remakes, obviously, is what they've been doing recently. So, like, having them, if that's true, if that'll eventually happen, yes, that's a big deal in the sense that, well, maybe, I mean, Microsoft couldn't own them, couldn't have them for their own stuff. They couldn't technically just be third-party and remake games that maybe everybody wants, not just PlayStation things. But again, I think we've settled in the mindset of, okay, remake this game next, remake that game next. And a lot of those games are PlayStation kind of like relics. You know what I mean? For me, it's Sly Cooper, Resistance, like remake some of these games, right? A lot of them are, actually all of them are always PlayStation things. So again, this is, honestly, it's the best thing that could have happened, because it's Housemarque. I've always loved Housemarque. Ever since Resogun. I didn't really know about them before. Resogun was kind of the first. Well, I heard about them with Dead Nation. I did play Dead Nation and really liked it, but I wasn't like in love with them or in love with the games. And then I did play Super Stardust after. I played that after Resogun. That game is phenomenal. So you get a talented studio. You get a studio that I think you want to expand and make bigger. You get a studio that's no longer making those kind of games, right? They're making Returnal-sized games, if not bigger. In fact, it will be bigger, right? So you're getting a legit, big team, big game prospect. And you may have also gotten Bluepoint, which again, these are and these are obvious things. These shouldn't make people too upset, because they kind of already had that deal worked out, right? They've been working with PlayStation for a very, very long time. Nobody else is losing all that much, right? And by the way, for those fanboys out there, I'd say and I have said the exact same thing for Xbox. If there's studios out there that have made their last 5 big games on only Xbox platforms, and then Xbox buys them, it'd be the exact same thing. It'd be like, no duh, you should have done this a long time ago, right? If you did do it a long time ago, it would have made more of that console war impact. If you bought Housemarque back with Resogun, I think it would have made more of an impact than now, because there's a bigger history exclusively with PlayStation. You know what I mean? So overall, very good. So let me know, guys, in the comments below, what do you think? Are you happy? Did you expect this to eventually happen? Do you think Bluepoint is also coming along for the ride eventually? Let me know. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on, hit the like button would definitely help. If you guys want to follow me over on Twitter or any of my other stuff, but Twitter is Podcast Now 15. Link for it is in the description below, along with all my other social media accounts, okay? Thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you all on the next video.